Hello, hello, hello. This is episode 58. I'm so happy to be with you once again. I would like to clear something up. I think it probably could be cleared up every single time there's anybody who talks about awareness as the word from non-duality. And anyone else, actually. And I've been using that word I awareness in the last couple of episodes. So we get used to being more than a body, more than a personal self. But this week I got to listen to somebody who was interpreting somebody is a Course in Miracles teacher with a very big following. And he was describing, really decoding a non-dual book. And he said that awareness could be translated as the Christ self. Well, or the Christ mind. I think it was the Christ mind. And in a way, that's true because awareness includes all objects, including the mind. But awareness is more than what we think of with salvation being the mind of God, salvation being the if you will, the cleaned up mind, not the crazy mind of separation. Awareness with a big A is beingness, it's life. It's not personal, it isn't the mind that's been illuminated. But it includes that too, but it includes what we consider as problems. It's everything. Non-duality means not divided in good or bad. When we learn in A Course in Miracles, everything is for our good, we're still dividing into good and bad. And that's important. A Course in Miracles is that hand reaching out to us when we're drowning. That line in A Course in Miracles opens us up to spirit, opens us up to trust, opens us up to faith. And there's something, I'll get in trouble for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. There's something beyond that where you just know, and you don't need to trust because you know. Trust implies doubt. This isn't what I was going to talk about today, but just bringing up awareness. Mostly my point is it's being interpreted incorrectly as awareness with the other English definition of like my insight, my awareness. It's a personal awareness. And while true awareness with a capital A includes everything, what we first want to understand about awareness is that we are it. We are a being, the part of the one being that you are and that God is. There's no inside, there's no outside. There is a beautiful line that could lead us there. And it's from lesson 96, I believe. Let me check. Yes, lesson 96. And it's at the end. And it says, this is the wrong page. Here we go. It's section 12 from 96, the very end. Your frantic mind will come to salvation when salvation comes, when you know that salvation, this is what the line that I'm using. Salvation comes from your one self. Now, what could that mean? I'd like to share an exercise that's in Rupert Spire's new book, You Are the Happiness You Seek. Because I believe very, very strongly, and again, I'm hearing Dove Fishman's believed has lie in it, but I think before we know things, we believe certain things, and then we either find out in our direct experience that they're true, or we find out, you know what, we've been mistaken. So just in case this shakes anybody up, I'd like to read it to you. Imagine the space of my study in Oxford, where I'm now writing, and compare it with the space in which you are currently sitting as you read this book. They seem to be two separate and unique spaces, each with its own particular size, shape, location, and so on. Now, imagine that each of us were to remove all the objects from our room, even to dismantling the walls within which the space seems to be contained. So are you with me so far? You got two rooms. They appear like our two bodies, like there's a you and there's a me. Look as different as our bodies do, right? Now, we take away everything, all the objects in the room and the walls. What remains of the difference between our two rooms? And are they still separate? So the body is as transient or more than the objects of a room. They cannot be what we are. Now, going back to the room, he says, had they united? Were they ever really separate to begin with? Now, do the same experiment with yourself. Imagine removing from yourself all the temporary changing elements of your experience. That would be thoughts, images, memories, feelings, sensations, perceptions, activities, relationships. What remains? Let's just take a moment. He answers it, but let's just take a moment to let that settle in. We let go our memories. We let go our thoughts, temporary. We let go our feelings, temporary. We let go our experiences, temporary. We let go our form, keeps changing, the body keeps changing. It's temporary too. Our activities, the things we've done. Remember, we've let go our memories. Now we're going to let go our relationships. You're a sister, you're a brother, you're a mother, you're a father, you're a daughter, and so on. What remains? Does it have a form? Isn't it just formless being? Isn't that what you are too? I haven't done this one before, so I'm going to do it with you. How does the same experiment in your imagination go with someone you love? Remove in your imagination everything that is not essential to them. What remains? He says it's formless, aware being. Because if we're still alive, we have the life force. The life force is awareness. Can you see how that's just a name for this formless being? And that when we say in my awareness, yeah, that's included, but that's not what we're talking about. Now you've gone back to being a separate person, a personal person. If you're just aware being, and I'm just aware being, and we're stripped of the body, we're stripped of the memory, we're stripped of our separate experiences. We're stripped of our thoughts and our feelings. What's left? He says, your shared being has simply been revealed. Now that it is no longer obscured by the respective elements of your experience. That revelation of your shared being is the experience of love. So we think of love as I love you because you complete me, or you make me feel good, or you're attractive, or I like being with you, or you're fun, but I see you as a separate being. He's talking about, if you will, an impersonal love, the love of connection. And that's the same love that we have with God, with nature, with every human being if we don't see them as separate. When we see ourselves as separate, you know what we have? We have imagined unworthiness. There's no way to do everything right. There's no way to be perfect in every way, especially if we're ready to judge. So the separate person comes with imagined unworthiness. The important word is imagined. We have great imaginations. But let's go back to, what does that mean to be stripped of our memories, our experiences? How about our houses, our thoughts, our feelings? What else is temporary? Our clothes, the body, our organs. Did I say our feelings? our perceptions, our beliefs. Don't they change all the time? Even our passions and our commitment and our love of God can go out the minute we have a problem, a perceived problem that we start to manage. And we've forgotten there is a God to handle the whole thing. What if God is that awake, aware being? And it's just the sum total of all the shared beings with powers that are not limited like the personal self. I think we're getting closer. Can you feel it? Let's just breathe into it. I can tell that I'm going down deeper and deeper and deeper with the circles that are inviting me to follow. Can you feel your connection to everything? While you're connected to everything, notice when your memories are gone and your feelings and your thoughts are let go, your histories let go. That's all transient too. What are we left with? Something formless. That's the important gift here. We're so used to thinking of ourselves as a form, as a solid being. That our real self, the formless, has been eclipsed by our focus on the changeable. What's our last thought? What's our last feeling? What's our intention? Those of us who've been around A Course in Miracles a long time are used to watching every thought and feeling to notice if it's an attack thought or it's coming from our loving heart. None of that is wasted. If you would like to come with me and start seeing yourself as impersonal, formless oneness, because we have to notice, and we've now developed a keen observer. We have to notice when our thoughts are back to the personal self. So we can use this keen observer and not touch it. There's nothing wrong with what we've thought. We don't have to do anything. But here's where that personal word awareness can slip in. It's not wrong, but it's missing the awareness of the totality, the other meaning of awake, aware being. That's not an insight. That's not the observation. What does that mean, not to touch it? That means we don't reinvest. We feel it if it was a feeling. We allow the thought to be. We acknowledge it happened. We don't pretend, but we just let it alone. And we return to that formless being that we are. That is our true I. That is the one self that is united with our Creator. From lesson 96. The Course doesn't do an awful lot with the words formless, but it talks about we are the one mind united with our Creator. A mind doesn't have a form. It's not talking about your brain. In lesson 198, we're told to forget everything. Close the book up. Come with holy, empty arms to the awareness that is you. What happens if we don't do all this? Nothing. If we are not inclined to see ourselves as awake, aware, awareness, the awake being. We get to have all that comes from seeing oneself as personal. We get to try to have a better personality, but we do end up with lots of imagined unworthiness from childhood because children can't comprehend that the adults are unfinished and they make themselves wrong in order to make the life more controllable. Of course, it's not true that life becomes more controllable. We're just in a circus, a circle, a vicious cycle of fixing ourselves, believing we're unworthy. We have a few more minutes. Let's go into meditation, where we've kind of been anyway, and relax into that formless self. So we're starting on the inside in a body of water with no skin around us, no bones around us holding us. So it's like open waters. That's us floating. We're not just on the water, not just in the water. We are the water. And there's no inside and outside. So our temperatures are fine. Now we're in the rooms that we created in the beginning, where there were no libraries, there were no books, there are no walls. So we're just connected, but there isn't even a we. There are just beings. And we might not even see them anymore as beings. They might not even be visible because the walls are gone, the skin and the bones of the body, the transient. We're not our memories, we're not our thoughts, we're not our feelings, we're not our relationships or our experiences. And there are no more walls. We can feel each other's hearts. We can hear each other's minds, but they no longer seem separate. We're not down. We're not out. We're not above. We just are. We're not located in space because time and space are not real. I thank you for this journey today. Bye.